Hello everyone, this is Flammy and welcome back. So, we're just after the March update, and we got a lot of things to talk about. I've been really busy lately, but this new update, we've got a lot of things in here. So, first of all, we got this new loading screen. We've got all the guys jumping around and everything, although I think my favorite one is this barbarian eating a cannonball on the right side. Although, probably the flying guy did the spring trap on the middle right was probably my second favorite. But you know what? Here we are back. We've got some stuff to talk about. I'm not going to talk about everything in the new update, but let's go over some of the more unusual things. So, the big thing is going to be the new units, and that's why we're not going to talk about them. We're going to talk about the little things. So first off, there's been a glitch lately in clan chats where the timestamps are messed up on some things. So you see here on this iPad, it's working fine, but you see these 2-minute, 1-minute indicators here, how long ago the message was. Well, on some devices that is screwed up. So that's screwed up on both my iPhone 3GS and my iPhone 5. But it looks like my iPad 1 here is doing fine. So you might be a little weirded out to see that like a message that clearly was very recent says actually 2 days ago or something funny like that. But no, it's just a glitch. It actually was recent. Now, the next thing that we have to talk about is, well, there's actually a lot. So, Wallbreaker AI is going to totally revolutionize base designs, as I'm sure many of you guys are aware. Everything else, though, is sort of focused at higher levels, so Town Hall 7 and above for all of the new units. So, I am a Town Hall 8 here on Derp, so I do have the Dark Barracks now. I just completed it a couple hours ago. And what does that allow us to do? Well, that allows us to train the Minion, which is the first of 3 new units, and as you can tell, they have more coming soon. So, similar to the normal barracks, it's probably going to be pretty easy to expect that the first several units are going to be the sort of infantry, where they're pretty cheap in terms of supply and cost and training, and then the later ones are going to be much more exotic in terms of cost and what they can do and their powers and supply costs and everything. But for level 1 barracks, the Minion is the first one, and it is fairly cheap all around. So, with a very reasonable, only 6 Dark Elixir as the cost, it also has fast training time with 45 seconds, and probably the most critical thing that we didn't know for sure during when they were teasing it was this housing space is 2. So, all those combine it to make it a sort of like Barbarian Archer unit that's going to be cheap and relatively easy to have lots of them and just sort of throw them away. Although it is Dark Elixir, so it's not going to be quite as easy to always have as much as you need as a normal Elixir, which many people will know that you're generally overflowing with normal Elixir. Alright, so the other ones, I guess we'll talk about them really briefly. We have the Hog Rider 2nd and the Valkyrie 3rd. Both of them are rather infantry-ish. Valkyrie's interesting because it does splash damage in a circle around it. Hog Rider is interesting because it can jump over walls. So, sort of getting off to a start here with the Dark Elixir unit, showing that they have some unusual abilities, and that's definitely a good thing. Alright, so a couple more things to talk about here. So, it is currently Saturday morning, and the update came out, about Tuesday. For most people, depends on your time zone, I guess. It's Saturday morning, and I'm recording this video at 5 a.m. I've been awake all night. Because I just finished up a very long week of finals and of midterms and essays and group projects. So I'm finally done, and that's why I haven't been uploading videos. But I did announce that I mentioned it in some videos both before, as well as I mentioned it on my Facebook. So if you were just noticing this video now and being like, oh, I haven't seen a Flame video in forever, this is why. I've been busy, and if you want updates on stuff like that, as well as like I post videos right when they come out, go like my Facebook page. It is on my channel, and it is in the description of this video, just for updates like that. If you don't, I mean, that's fine. It doesn't really matter. It's not needed, but I would appreciate it. Alright, so the next thing that's going to talk about here is something a little bit more fun. So, when the update was being hinted, they had told us that they were going to be making wall breakers into a 2-supply unit. So me, being the clever, curious bastard that I am, was wondering what would happen if I queued up 200 wall breakers, let them finish, and then let the update roll around. Well, last Sunday and Monday, I built 200 wall breakers, and when Tuesday rolled around and the update came out, these 200 wall breakers, instead of being worth 1 supply each, were suddenly worth 2 supply, and thus I currently have a 400 out of 200 supply army. Now, some other people might have thought about this, but you know what? I haven't seen any videos online of it, and considering it's now Saturday, I think it's probably pretty safe to say I'm the only person in the world right now with over 225 supply in their army camps. Why do I have all these wall breakers? Well, we got two options here. One is just to go crazy with them and deploy them all to attack a base. But more exciting, I think, is to go play around with the new wall breaker AI. So let's go and do that. But first, I'm going to talk about how exactly the new wall breaker AI works. So I'm going to pull up a forum post where Supercell was kind enough to tell us exactly how it works. So let's see here. So this is what Supercell tells us the new AI does. This is actually really helpful because they've never actually done this before, and this is pretty nice for them and pretty useful. But there's always going to be little quirks, and we're going to go figure those out, and we'll get to do that in just a minute. But when you place it on a wall breaker, what does it do? Number one, it looks for the closest building or turret that is trapped, fully or partially, by walls. Alright, so that makes sense. So what it's going to do is target a building rather than a wall. So say I put down a wall breaker right here. It will probably target this clan castle. However, maybe it will attack this. It will target this air defense or this Tesla, something that it considers partially covered. We'll see. We'll see about that part. Okay, step 2. You will choose the shortest path between where it spawned and the building, and blow up any walls in the way. So because it's ignoring buildings like this and this and this, it's going to ignore those ones, and there's no walls in the way. But if it does target this, it will go for that and destroy any walls on the way there, which is very different than how it used to act. So number 3, after the wall is blown up, it will then choose the next building that is still trapped by walls and run straight towards it, blow up any walls in its way once again. So it's sort of like then it goes back and repeats. So let's see here. How is this going to work? And just off the top of my head, guessing. So what I expect is it will be really effective against my current base layout, because that means it should be able to avoid all these outer walls and only go for the inner walls in here. So, alright, let's go have some fun. This is not going to be for resources whatsoever. Why is that? Well, I only have wall breakers is the main thing, and wall breakers aren't very good at stealing resources if you weren't aware. I will queue up some other stuff behind them, but we've got some wall breakers here. I had them storing up elixir. Oh, actually, speaking of that, I wonder how many do I have? Do I have all of them? Ooh, sweet. So, notice I'm storing up a lot of elixir in here. Let's cancel these guys out. Notice these barracks were overfilled, too. I'd filled up a lot of guys in there. Okay, so we've got 2 million elixir. Now, what can we do with this? Well, I'm thinking I should go throw it at this. Should I? Or should we play around with the units first? Yeah, I can't think of a better thing to do with it, and with dragons for 2 days out still, bam, let's go do it. So, I'm going to hold off and do the new units for a little while, and just send that after that. Alright, so let's queue up some healers and some giants to start replacing our army, just because we want to attack for reals afterwards, for gold and stuff, and then we'll go get going on the wall breaker experimentation. Alright, one last thing I forgot to say about myself was, not only did I have a really busy week this last week in school, I also ended up getting sick partway through it, so my voice is a little scratchy still, so I do apologize for that. I'm not sure if you've noticed. I think it's sounding a bit better, but it was really bad earlier this week. Alright, okay, we're all good. We've got lots of wall breakers, and let's go. Drop our shield. It had less than an hour left, so that's fine. I'm fine dropping small shields like that. And here is our first victim. Oh boy. Perhaps we should have a bunch of guys, but you know what? That's all right. Goblins to steal resources, but you know what? Okay, so this base is pretty predictable. Everything is inside the walls, and we get to go see how these guys are going to react. So if I dropped a wall breaker, say down here in the bottom in this little gap, it's going to go for this nearest cannon because it's going to be the closest building that's behind walls. Now, if I deployed it over here on the right, it would go for this the walls that are protecting this clan castle, which is also useful. So we can still target it, but we can't target it quite as effectively in other cases. But in situations like this, it will always ignore this wall in here. So, okay, I'm going to experiment this. What if I was trying to aim for that mortar in there? What I'm going to try to do is go for that. So, let's deploy 5. I expect that after destroying this wall, they'll go for those inner walls. Boom. Perfect. Mission successful. So, that was pretty straightforward. It worked exactly how I thought it was. I deployed guys out here on the bottom left. They first went for this cannon in here, and as soon as that was blown up and the walls were exposed, they went in here. Now, another thing you might have noticed is the wall breaker radius is actually improved also. So instead of targeting 2 walls, they are now targeting 3 walls. Part of this means they also attack walls 3 deep, which is actually a very significant improvement, which you might not realize quite right away, but it means double-thicked walls are a very bad plan. Alright, in case you weren't aware, you can still target T-walls, so I'll deploy one guy out here, and, well, I guess he's probably going to die before, but you know what, let's do that. 3 should do the job just fine. And you see one guy is able to take out all those walls. He was even off to the right a little bit, but he takes out the entire T just fine. I don't think there's anything else that we can really experiment with in this base. I want to go find some bases which have some, well, have some buffer walls and buttress walls and spike walls if any of them are left, and we can experiment on them a little bit. Let's go and check it out. Alright, ooh, this is a good one. So, we've got a wall here on the left that it ends. I mean, it's open down here at this end near the barracks. So, I'm curious how wall breakers will act to this. Will they consider the buildings behind it partially protected, or will they run all the way around it? I would hope they'd attack the wall, but you know what, let's find out. And good, they do attack the wall. Let's see about this. So I'm going to put it out here just up here near this barracks. I'm curious if it's going to go for this archer tower or this cannon. And it goes for the cannon. Interesting. What if we put it right here? Okay, it goes for the cannon as well. I'm glad they're actually dying. So, what if we put it right here near this builder's hut? Ooh, so that's interesting. So, right there, notice if I put it right here, it's going to attack the wall up there. Put it right here, it's going to attack the cannon. So, right in here near this torch looks like to be the difference right there. Oops, I deployed a little too close. So, what is the difference there? So, well, if I deployed it on the bottom left here, sort of from this area and downwards, it was going to go through this gap and go attack here, or it's going to go around here and attack here. What does that mean? That means if it's on this side here, the distance from here to these defenses is close enough that it will consider them in the open, so to say. But if it's above here, on the other hand, it will consider these defenses to still be protected because it has to walk far enough. That means its targeting is based on how far it has to walk. Quite useful to know. Okay then, let's see. Oh, double thick walls. Now I can demonstrate exactly what I was talking about just a second ago. Let's do 3 guys in here. 1 should detonate, and you see that? Only 1 detonated. Rewind it if you didn't see it, but 2 died ahead of time. But that single one destroyed all the walls, including into the cannon, or the mortars compartment in the center. Before, you would not have 1 wall breaker do that. It would take at least 2 wall breakers to do that, assuming none of them died. So, useful stuff right there as well. I'd like to go get some more of these long segment walls to play around with and maybe make my point a little bit more. Let's go look for another base. And then, you know what, I think I've got a feeling that we're going to have a couple wall breakers left over, so maybe we can go do some fun with those. Anything that we can demonstrate here? It's double thick walls, but I mean we already looked at that. There were some rumors early on that wall breakers like to target T-walls. From what I've seen, that's actually not the case. I'm not going to attack this one. There's just nothing that's interesting to show on it. Oh, sweet, some spike walls. Forgot about those. Okay, I mentioned them earlier. So, wall spikes used to be a very common strategy to defend against wall breakers. And, I mean, at this point, that's common knowledge still, but say someone's watching this video in 2 months, that might not be so common knowledge. What used to happen is you deploy a unit anywhere out here, and it will go for the closest wall, regardless of if that wall is like sort of in a stupid position. So these spike walls were very good at soaking up wall breaker hits. So for example, if I place one right out here on the right like I'm going to, it used to attack the wall. Instead, it'll go past it and attack the inner wall. And it's dead. Let's do 2. Boom. Perfect. So, as you can see right there, one wall breaker takes out 4 walls, and it ignores the spike wall. Previously, the first one would have to kill the spike wall before any of them went for those inner walls. Now, here's something else that's curious. Notice how they went for those walls right there first? Now, if I do more, they're going to go for the inner walls. They're going to completely ignore these outer walls, which it used to attack. This is the part where it's going to ignore walls where the defenses are now open. Let's see, anything else in here? No, let's go look for another one of those bases where they've got a long wall. They're not super common though, so we might have to search through a couple of them. This, by the way, is actually exactly the same for all levels of wall breakers. I do have level 5 wall breakers, but your levels 1, 2, 3, and 4 wall breakers should operate exactly the same way. And presumably whenever they get around to releasing level 6 wall breakers, they'll probably act the same way as well. Let's go ahead and search. Okay, so this is interesting. I wonder if this wall segment, which is, it's about 10 or 11 long, I think it's 10 long, I wonder if this is going to be long enough for wall breakers to actually target, or if they'll go around the sides. So, let's deploy in the end to make sure. Good, so it's going around the sides. I'm going to ignore the clan castle guys, they don't really matter. Okay, so deploying right there in the middle causes them to go around the wall as well. And deploying here, around the wall. Deploying here, around the wall. So all of this is really useful in indicating that these little wall segments will still be very effective when funneling, and perhaps they'll be even more effective now. Why is that? That means if wall breakers won't attack a wall segment that's, what is this, 10 long? Let me count it exactly. 3 to here, another 3 to here, and then 4 to here. So yes, it's exactly 10 segments long. So if a wall breaker won't attack a wall that's 10 segments long, and say it will rather walk around instead, just because that distance is short enough, what does that actually mean? Well, that means that we can use 10 long walls all around our base that wall breakers won't ever attack. This means we can funnel wall breakers around where we want them. And that's definitely an important thing to be able to do, and to know how it works. Okay then, so wall breakers, anywhere else in here? Yeah, I think we're good. Good job defending Clan Castle, guys. You can go back home. And let's go see if we can find a couple more interesting bases, and then we'll see what we can do with the rest of these wall breakers. I don't know. You guys probably have some ideas. That base, it was just pockets, and we see pretty effectively how these pockets will interact. Ooh, this guy's got a triple thick wall we'd go detonate on. I don't think it will do any more than the first 2, but I guess I'll show this anyways. So I put down 3 wall breakers together. So it took 2 wall breakers to kill the pink walls as expected, and it only killed them 2 deep. So that goes to show that, yes, indeed, they only do kill 2 walls at a time. However, this doesn't mean, depending on how they're targeted, they'll only kill 2 deep ahead of them, but they could kill some behind them and to the sides as well. Anything else about this? Why is your lab inside the walls? That's just a bad decision. We've got some interesting bases we're looking at here, that's for sure. Alright, let's go back and see if we can find a couple more bases before we wrap this up. This base, Nah. It's not that interesting. It's going to be pretty easy to tell how the wall breaker is going to act in many situations. Ooh, here's a new one. So, these walls aren't that interesting, but something that is part of this base that is interesting is the fact that they have a hole in their spawn thing. So part of this last update was changing how units can spawn. So you can now spawn on decorations. I actually did it a bit earlier, you might have noticed. But another thing is you can now spawn on Tesla holes, apparently. So I'm not sure if this means actually when Teslas are destroyed only, so I'm going to actually try it out. So interesting. See how I can spawn here despite the fact that Tesla is blocking that? Very interesting stuff. So Teslas no longer block spawn holes. So I would not recommend that guy keep up doing that. Here's another interesting thing. So we've destroyed a couple walls here with these wall breakers I was testing with. Now, if I deployed more wall breakers, and I will in a second, where are they going to go? So this compartment is open. This compartment is open. and this long compartment's obviously open because I spawned there. Where are wall breakers going to go next? Well, all these outer walls are sort of pointless. All these inner walls, some of them are pointless as well. That means the closest buildings which are behind walls, which remember is what this targeting, are going to be these storages and this archer tower. So let me count the spaces. It looks like they're exactly equal. Yeah, they're exactly equal in terms of how far apart they are. However, these gold storages might be a bit closer in terms of the walking, how far it has to walk to get there. So I'm going to play a couple more wall breakers, and we'll see where they actually go. I expect them to target both this gold storage and or this archer tower, but you'll notice they won't target this cannon, this archer tower, or any other closer walls than those. Or even this cannon over here. Those are the ones that are the closest nearest targets that you consider would attacking. Let's go ahead and deploy 5 or so. Okay, so it does go for the gold storages as mentioned. Look like it's a bit closer walking wise, otherwise you'd have to walk around this point down here. And as imagined, it's doing exactly what you expect. It's ignoring all the other walls, which is really useful. Now, what happens if I deploy one more now? I expect it to go for this archer tower now. And ding, yes it does indeed. You can see that little targeting reticule shows that it was targeting that archer tower. So it looks like that description that Supercell has kindly given us on the forums was absolutely accurate. So very useful stuff. It works exactly as anticipated. Wonderful. So where does that leave us? That leaves us with approximately 159 wall breakers, which is 318 supply still. You'll notice my giants are finished up, but they're not finishing. We've got too many guys in our army camp still. What should we ever do with these? Well, I think we should go do a mass wall breaker attack, probably. And not only a mass wall breaker attack, but a mass wall breaker attack using the new AI. So let's go find a base. That's sort of interesting right there, given how, let's skip it a little bit more. I want to find one that's a bit more spread out with the walls. And I'm willing to skip through a couple, because I mean, like, this is the one and only time I'm ever going to get to play with more than 100 wall breakers at a time, so, I think this is a special occasion. I can spend some gold skipping through a couple matches. Good resource on this one. Too bad I don't have any goblins. Only wall breakers. Ooh, nice gold storage in the center there. I think when I deploy this, I'm going to have to do some multi-finger tapping real fast. Ooh, this looks like a fun one. Okay, so I'm going to attack this guy. What made me pick it was it's got a good combination of lots of walls, somewhat spread out walls, and low-level walls, which I think will give us a good display of our wall breaker prowess. Alright, so I'm going to attack from, every single side at once. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to do one side. Left side, bottom. Let's do bottom this side. Ready? I'm just going to deploy all these guys as fast as possible. And rage spells to make them move faster. Oops. Let's do more. Oh, I misdropped a rage spell. Go, 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 go. And notice that they're actually interestingly targeting random walls rather than going for the closed ones on the far side. Very curious for that. Now all of them are open, so they're going to target any walls. Interesting. Oh, we did a really good job actually getting the vast majority of those walls. Oh, it actually looks like we got the... Oh, were those giant bombs? I think those were giant bombs in there. Interesting. Yeah, that was fun. That was really fun. That was really fast, too. So something that's actually interesting was these wall segments on the top here actually remained enclosed until rather towards the end, which sort of indicates the wall breakers won't target walls that are enclosed and really, really far away. So this sort of goes in line with what we were observing with the first base I attacked, which had that really long wall segment. Curious to see that confirmed there. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. I wonder how many resources we actually got from the random splash damage. I'm going to go watch that replay when I've got this recorded on my computer, because I want to see that wall breaker attack once again. Alright, I think I'm going to do sound effects. ready, set, deploy, 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 deploy. Wall breaker, wall breaker, wall breaker, wall breaker, and raid spell, and raid spell, and oh wait, why aren't they deploying? Why aren't they deploying? Oh shit, raid spell, deploy, 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 boom, 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 and all the cannons and archer towers are like pew, 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 and all the wall breakers like boom, 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 and the clan castle guys are like, oh shit, and they're like boom, 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 and the wall breakers like wall breaker, wall breaker, wall breaker, wall breaker, and then the last ones are like, oh god, only a few walls left, can we get them all, can we get them all, can we get them all, and then we're like, no. Alright guys, so that's going to wrap up this fun little messing around with wall breakers video. I am going to take some of the clips out of this, as well as some of the lessons learned, and boil them down to a specific wall breaker tactics and AI video. Now I did one of these for the previous wall breaker AI, and it was very successful in teaching a lot of people how to use them, so I think I will just keep this simple, shorten it up a little bit, just so it's all at the critical points. So I'll probably use clips from this video and probably re-record the audio over it with a little bit more concise now that I know exactly what I'm talking about. Now that I've played around with 200 wall breakers, I think that was a good introduction lesson to how they're working. Well, alright guys, that's going to wrap up this video. I will be talking about many things in the near future relating to this update. So, things I plan on covering. Well, new units, of course. I am going to let this naturally finish, though. I prefer not to use gems for several reasons, and the biggest one is actually that I don't want to spend tons of gems because I know most of you don't spend tons of gems. If I was spending tons of gems, then you guys would be like, Flammy, your strategy doesn't really count for me. Like, you're saying oh, do it this way, this way, this way, but when I don't have 5 workers and I don't have this and I don't have that, I can't do it too. So that's definitely a big part of my reason why I'm not going to just gem this and I'm not playing with these new units right now. Plus, we got a whole lot of new things to talk about in the meantime. One of the big ones are going to be base defense, and as you saw, wall breakers, they ignore the spikes, they ignore long buttress walls, but at the same time, there's a lot of valid base defenses that are going to matter. So I'm going to go over some of the techniques for new wall designs very soon. And I look forward to talking with all of you guys about that in the near future. So, once again, sorry for not uploading lately because I was so busy with school stuff. But you know what? School comes first. If I start failing classes, there's not going to be any videos. So I better not do that. But because I'm not failing classes and I'm actually doing quite well, I will keep doing videos every day that I can, and for the next week and a half or so, I've got spring break, so I hope to have a lot of videos coming out for you guys. So you know what? Stay tuned. If you have not subscribed, guys, please consider subscribing. I'm going to try to put out Clash of Clans videos every single day as normal. And if you already are subscribed, thank you very much for sticking with me. I do appreciate your ongoing support. You can show the support by liking and commenting below. So, alright guys, that's going to wrap it up. And last but not least, thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.